Blacktronica was set up through my frustrations of the music industry, particularly in England, where, you know, from doing the Attica Blues project, England is very much into categories of music, and they find it very difficult to deal with any new form of music that comes along that doesn't have a name, doesn't have a visible media presence or a visible following. And so we were finding situations where we were trying to take our project live, and it was kind of not electronic enough to be in Sonar Festival, but then not really R&B or hip hop enough to be in an Essential Festival. So we were kind of falling into these cracks where there were no DJs playing our music, there were nowhere places to perform, there were no places that you could go to hear dialogue about what we were doing. And I kind of got to that point where I got fed up with this situation and realized that unless I got up and decided to do something about this and create my own forum, then the same thing that was happening to me was going to keep happening to all these other people who were coming up, you know, because I was meeting all these other young cats who were kind of making music that wasn't hip hop, but was influenced by hip hop and reggae, and just living in London and living in England, because England is a sponge. It just absorbs culture from around the world very quickly and then kind of regurgitates it and then spits it back out. So the whole idea of Blacktronica initially was a 3-day festival, and I wanted to have a reggae day where I'd have Jar Shaka playing, and then there was going to be a co-op day, and then there was going to be the day that was the kind of Attica Blues sound system day, and we were just going to get all these talented people that we knew, because I suddenly realized that a lot of people who were in positions of power were all around the same age. It's that kind of mid to late 20s, early 30s. You're all coming up together. You've been through the same experiences. You've been to the same clubs. Now these people are the people who are commissioning videos or editors of magazines, but our people weren't there. So I kind of had to create this forum, and so the idea of Blacktronica was born. And purely by chance, when I approached the ICA about doing this event, they were like, well, in order to prove that it works, maybe you should do it as a club night first. And I never, you know, it was never about being in this continuous experience. It was literally 3 days, once a year, bang, I'm out. I wanted to have this thing where I didn't have to go to anyone in order to do what I wanted to do. Let me just get the people together, and we're going to do this magazine, and it's going to be called Osmosis, and it's going to come out once or twice a year, and it's just going to be there. When I left school, I worked in this hairdressers. I was learning to be a hairdresser. And the first person who came in, I was like the hair sweeper and hair washer. The first person who came in was McClaren. So McClaren comes in, and this is like 88, 89. And I'm like, oh my God, McClaren's coming to play. I can't believe it. I'm flipping out. And he's been really cool, and he's like, why are you getting so excited? I'm like, oh, you know, I'm really a big fan of yours. Duck Rock, World Ferry Supreme Team. I'm like, where did you get the radio on the cover of the album? He's like, I made it myself. He's like, if you ever want to do anything in your life, you should just do it yourself. And that just became the mantra that has carried me across through the years, you know. And it's kind of, that was a chance meeting, you know, because it was just like, that is the thing. If you want to do something and you want to have change and you want to be in control, then you have to do it yourself. You know, it's kind of, you can't wait for the mainstream to catch up with you, you know, because they're late, they're behind, you know, they're not, you know, they lead you into believing that their finger is on the pulse, but their finger is so not on the pulse at all.